Ultimately, it's the Israelis and the Palestinians, not us, who must reach agreement on the issues that divide them. America's commitment to Israel's security is unshaken.
A reunião da Assembleia Geral da ONU em setembro foi um jogo de cartas marcadas. Primeiro, pelo discurso de Barack Obama, totalmente alinhado com a posição israelense, para escriar o pedido solene dos palestinos de ter seu Estado reconhecido pelas Nações Unidas. Depois, o encaminhamento palestino ao Conselho de Segurança, onde todos sabem que é tão improvável que o pedido seja aprovado, como é absolutamente certo que, se aprovado, será vetado pelos Estados Unidos da América. Mas pouco importa. O presidente Mahmoud Abbas deu provas de continuar avançando em sua estratégia de comer o mingau pela beirada para não queimar a língua. E assim, deu o seu recado diante dos representantes de 193 países que, aos poucos, vão se tornando aliados da causa palestina. Hoje, apesar das fronteiras inviáveis das 193 nações, 130 já trocam embaixadores com a Palestina, inclusive o Brasil.
O Brasil já reconhece o Estado palestino como tal nas fronteiras de 1967, de forma consistente com as resoluções das Nações Unidas.
Tem sido assim há 4 anos. Com as negociações com os israelenses girando em falso, um cauteloso Abbas comanda ao mesmo tempo as grandes manifestações pacíficas dos palestinos e a luta dos bastidores da diplomacia. Mesmo apanhando, Abbas não bate nos Estados Unidos. É o que nos mostra a entrevista que o presidente concedeu em seu gabinete em Ramallah ao repórter português Henrique Cymerman, que por 4 anos esperou por esse encontro.
Mr. President, really thank you very much for this opportunity and for this interview. And I wanted to ask you, you're saying these are difficult days. How was your experience in the UN, and what are the conclusions you're reaching after these days in New York?
Why it was difficult? Because everybody around us refused to go to the Security Council. They want us to go to the General Assembly. Maybe easier, maybe it doesn't cost them a lot. Maybe there is some pressure from here and there. For that, everybody was pushing us to General Assembly, but we decided to go to the Security Council, and we succeeded. We know that it's difficult, because some veto will be waiting for us. Also, maybe we cannot get the 9 votes from the members of the Security Council. So it will be difficult. But anyhow, we will see who will be with us, who will be against us. If we get our state, we will be ready immediately to return back to the negotiating table, because in the United Nations you cannot solve all the core issues. We have security, we have water, we have Jerusalem, we have refugees. All these core issues should be resolved between the 2 parties, the Israelis and the Palestinians. So anybody says that it contradicts with the negotiations, he is wrong.
Sir, I want to understand something. You knew there is a possibility of an American veto.
Yeah.
And even like this, you went to the Security Council.
Yeah.
Aren't you worried about the confrontation with the American administration?
No, we don't want to make any confrontation, neither with the Americans nor with any other country around the world. I want the Americans to clarify to me, to tell me why they will use their veto. Why? I am going to have a right to get a right from the United Nations. South Sudan needed half an hour. Why the Palestinians to be delayed and to put obstacles and hurdles before them not to go there? There is no logic at all.
And this veto can damage even more the legitimacy of the United States in the Arab world. Do you think that the Americans, after the speech of President Obama, which was pro-Israeli speech, you think that the Americans still can mediate in the Middle East between Israelis and Palestinians?
I think they can. Why not? If we put aside the speech, which was for the Israelis, I think that Americans still the friends of the Arabs. And by the way, they are our friends. They help us a lot. More than $700 million they pay for us. We consider ourselves as friends to the Americans. They are allies to the Israelis, okay, but they are friends. So why they lose our friendship, and why they lose the Arab masses? And you see now the Arabs are in the bottom of this Arab Spring. It is difficult to accept such biased situations from the Americans.
Do you see a gap between the other speeches of President Obama in Cairo when he was elected after his victory, recently in May, and now in the UN?
Yes, of course there is a gap, but when he said in Cairo that the Israelis should cease all kinds of settlement activities, including the what you call it, natural growth, he meant that, but he couldn't convince the Israelis to do it. Now he didn't reiterate this position, but this is the American position. No, keep it aside. This is the quartet position. Keep it aside. This is the majority of the Israeli position. The majority, and you can ask the Israelis, make some polls here and there, you will find more than 70% of the Israelis vote for cease the settlement, or even to eradicate the settlements from the Palestinian territories.
And after the Security Council, are you going to the General Assembly, and what do you expect, you or maybe the Arab League, and what do you expect from the General Assembly?
If anybody will go, we will go, with the support of the Arab League, with the support of anybody, but to be sincere with you, we didn't decide yet. Our decision only, the leadership, Palestinian leadership, is to go to the Security Council. But till now, nobody decided. We didn't put it before the leadership to decide whether we go or not to the General Assembly. We have not less than 130 countries recognize Palestine as a state. 130. We have missions in many countries, even in Europe, and in some other countries. But full recognition, embassies, we have 130.
The Israeli Prime Minister is saying that you want a state instead of peace. What is your reaction to this?
State for peace. Why instead of peace?
Because he's saying that you're doing a unilateral move.
How it will be unilateral when I go to address 192 countries around the world? Is it unilateral action? The unilateral action is the settlements in Palestine, and that in the Palestinian territories before 1967, this is the unilateral action. But when I go to the United Nations, and by the way, from where he got his recognition? From the United Nations, from General Assembly. And at that time, 1947, there was the Resolution 181, the partition plan, Palestine and Israel. Israel existed, Palestine diminished. Why?
Maybe because Israelis accepted and Palestinians and Arabs didn't?
I know.
Maybe you're correcting this mistake?
It was our mistake. It was our mistake. It was the Arab mistake as a whole. But do they punish us for this mistake 64 years? Okay, punish us 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, but not for this mistake. We will punish 64 years. And we recognized 242, 338, all the resolutions, and we showed our readiness to live in peace with the Israelis. And now we are working on the ground since 4 years, no incident between us and the Israelis. And there is a coordination, security coordination between us and them. So make the comparison between the 4 years and the 40 years before. Even when the Israelis were here, how many incidents took place, how many bombs, how many suicide bombs everywhere, but now nothing. Why? Because we want to live in peace. We were very active to formulate the Arab Initiative, because at that time we tried to make some changes to facilitate the way for the Arab Initiative. And at that time, you can read it now or at any time, that if Israel recognizes the Palestinian state, all the Arab countries, no, or the Muslim countries, 57 states, immediately will recognize Israel and normalize their relations with it. So you can imagine Israel to live in an ocean of peace.
And you, sir, you are a refugee from,
of course,
from
yes.
Safed, I understand.
Yes, from Safed.
As a refugee, you can say, you can declare that refugees under the right of return would return to the Palestinian state, to Palestine, and not to Israel?
Yeah, and this is not the question. The Israelis used to say, remove the file from the file of the refugees from the table. I used to tell them, we have 5 million refugees, all of them expelled from Israel. They have the right to solve their problem. You should put it on the table. According to the Arab Peace Initiative, what did it say? It said that there should be just and agreed upon solution to the refugees. Okay, just and agreed upon. Any solution should be agreed by both parties. I cannot impose any refugee to return back to his house without the agreement of the Israelis. But let me discuss it with you. To find a solution pre-hand, I will not accept. To remove the file from the table, I will not accept. But put it on the table. I understand. When we have 5 million refugees, and you will say, oh, 5 million refugees to return back to Israel, you mean that you will destroy Israel. Right. I will not do it. But let us find compromise. Let us find solution for these people. Till when they will wait in camps, either in the West Bank, Gaza, or outside.
So what, economic compensations?
No, we want to put it on the table, to discuss it from A to Z. What is agreed, at the end, we will sign the agreement, both. For that, I told the Israelis that we have 6 core issues, but we have also the 7 to put an end to the conflict. To put an end to the conflict, which means that no more demands after we sign this agreement. But they do not understand it, unfortunately, because they don't want peace.
So you're saying that you would be ready in the end of the peace agreement to write, this is the end of claims, this is the end of the conflict?
Exactly. Exactly. I am ready after we solve the 6 problems, the 6 core issues, plus the prisoners. We have 8,000 prisoners. They should be immediately released after we sign or during our signature. But after that, we put an agreement, extra agreement, that we put an end to the conflict.
The Israelis changed governments since '93, I think 8 times.
Maybe, yes.
Is it hard to start again with every government?
Of course, it is impossible to start again from zero with every government, and they are doing the same now. Netanyahu came to the power and said, nothing nothing on the table. You have to remove everything and we'll start from zero. This we cannot do it. No government respects itself, do the same. We have to build on it. We have to accumulate on it, not to remove everything and start from zero. Otherwise, nobody can trust to make any agreement with the government, and the other agreement successor will say, no, 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 I do not recognize, I don't want.
But with Olmert, you went very far.
Yeah.
And
yes.
you were quite close.
Yeah.
I think the closest
Very
moment
close.
in the long peace process.
Very close.
Why didn't you accept? Why didn't you say
You
yes
can ask him.
to Israel?
I said yes, but we didn't finalize the files. We finalized only one file. What is it? The security. The security in the day after. And we came to an agreement that we will bring here third party. And the third party will be NATO, will be deployed in our territories to defend the Israelis and to rehabilitate the Palestinians.
You think you lost an opportunity?
I cannot say, of course it was a good opportunity. It was a very good opportunity. And both we missed that opportunity. If he stayed for 2-3 months, I believe that at that time we can conclude an agreement.
And about Netanyahu, is he the toughest leader, Israeli leader, that you found up to now since '93?
I cannot say tougher or not, but I can say, first of all, he is our counter, he is our partner, and he is elected by the Israeli people. But it is difficult with him to launch any kind of negotiations, because when President Obama invited us to the White House in the beginning of last September, I spent with him 5 hours. Then we went to Sharm el-Sheikh, 5 hours more. And in his house in Jerusalem, also 5 hours.
With Netanyahu?
With Netanyahu. And were with us only Hillary Clinton and Mitchell, myself and him. We spent 5 hours to convince him, let us start with the borders. He said, no, I want security. What is his concept concerning security? He wants to stay in Jordan Valley and in the heights 40 years. This is the end. This is the concept. I told him, I prefer occupation. I cannot, it doesn't work with me. Occupation for me is better than what you offer me now.
Would you be ready to go to the Knesset and tell these things? If they invite you?
There is no problem. There is no problem. By the way, I don't have any red lines. I meet with anybody. My colleagues go to any place in Israel to meet anybody. Many times used to come to me and say, somebody in the defense ministry wants to see us, go. One in the foreign ministry, go. One in the Knesset, go. Ministers, go. I don't have any red lines. At the end, we have to live with them.
Sadat went to the Knesset, and many things changed.
Because of this visit?
It started something?
Know. At that time, Ishaq Shamir was? No.
Begin.
Begin was ready for peace.
And he was from the right.
It doesn't matter, the right. He understands the interests, the future of his people, and he got the point and went immediately to that point, because he believes that if he concludes a peace treaty with Egypt, it will be in his favor.
And is Netanyahu able, Mr. President?
I don't know. You can ask him. I don't want to put something against him, because, as I told you, he is our partner. He is elected by the people. I cannot criticize him.
Would you accept Israeli settlers to remain in Palestine?
It depends on the agreement. It depends on the agreement. What come out from the agreement, it will be accepted by both sides. Yani it's not a problem. Let us talk about it. Let us put it on the table to see that these people will stay here, those people will stay there. At that time, I will measure whether it. Yani,
you don't say no in advance to that
I didn't
possibility.
say no for anything. I said 67 borders with agreed swaps. Put it on the table. Let us discuss it, and we will see.
For Netanyahu, it is very important what he calls the Jewish nature of the State of Israel.
Yeah.
Would you be ready in the future to accept this?
He can go to the United Nations to change his name. Why he asks me only? Why he choose me only from the world to accept or not to accept the nature of the state? I recognize Israel. Yasser Arafat and Rabin. That's it. We recognize Israel. But he wants us to say it is Jewish state. You can go to the United Nations and change your name. Change your name there. Why you ask me? I will not accept.
Mm-hmm. And about the fact that maybe nothing will happen with Netanyahu. Maybe he will win the next elections too, and this status quo will continue. So what will happen?
We will not launch a war against Israel. Come from the end. We have to negotiate with the Israelis peacefully. This is our idea. This is our ideology. This is our policy. This is the culture of the Palestinians. We are not ready to return back to the violence.
And you feel you'll bring Hamas to the framework of accepting Israel?
Whether they accept or not, they are opposition. You can see in Israel many parties in Israel who denies the right of Palestinians to live. And they are part of the Israeli community. So they have to deal with me. But why they put a pretext to say, oh, Hamas doesn't recognize Israel, so we do not want to deal with you?
Sir, I have a last question, which is, no doubt you are one of the main personalities of the Palestinian history. And a long time ago, as you said before, and in the future, when the books of the schools will be written of Palestine, of the future state of Palestine, how would you like to be remembered in these books?
Yani, I want to be remembered that I worked very hard to achieve something to our people. Only.